Good evening, sister. Good evening, sister.
Ada apa tuh? Paskaran kiwita. Sakin bilang enggak.
I'm ready, yeah. Shiji. All okay? We cannot hear you. Shiji?
Yes, sister.
Okay. I was worried you're not appearing so long with so. All the best.
Thank you, sister.
Yuki abu, mang jस्तो त्यहाँ किन जान्छ?
Sister? No problem. We'll start off now since people are just coming inside. So. Okay, we'll start off. A very good evening to all present here. I warmly welcome each of you to this evening's program, which brings all of us from various corners to a single platform. I believe this stands as a blessing in this time of doom and gloom. To begin this program, I now call upon Sister Merina Thomas, the principal of St. Joseph's, Dalu, to lead us into a few moments of prayer. Sister Merina Thomas.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. A reading from the book of Sirach. If you want to be wise, keep the Lord's commands, and he will give you wisdom in abundance. Fearing the Lord is wisdom and an education in itself. He is pleased by loyalty and humility. Be faithful in the practice of your religion. When you worship the Lord, do it with all your heart. Spirit of God, we thank you for your presence amidst us this evening. Lord, lead, guide, direct every person present here, especially the resource persons, our dear fathers, sisters who are going to animate us this evening. May we be able to enlighten each other and gain wisdom and knowledge to reach out to many through our service. We make this prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Mary, help of Christians, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Sister Merina. Let me begin then. Let me begin then with a brief note of welcome. First of all, I extend a warm welcome to the main resource person of today's program, Father George Chempakathinal SDB, who has made himself available to us. I feel honored to have the presence of Sister Catherine Joseph, the General Counsel for Education, whose presence makes this occasion graced. Thank you, dear sister, for being with us, and welcome to you. Welcome to our dear Sister Provincial, Sister Chettri, for her encouraging presence. Thank you for the keen interest and care you show for the mission. Sister Lisa will be addressing us shortly. Hearty welcome to our Vice Provincial, Sister Escociana, who was ever enthusiastic to be part of this program. Thank you, dear sister, for your valuable presence. I am extremely happy to welcome all the managers, principals, sisters, and teachers of our schools, province, to this webinar. Thank you so much for setting aside this time and being part of this important program that we organize in the province. Welcome to each of you. Isn't it a time of blessing?
I can hear everything.
Isn't it a time of blessing that we have come together? It's important that we begin the event with a message from our provincial superior, who has been a passionate educator herself. I now welcome Sister Chettri, our provincial, to address the gathering and deliver a short message. Sister Chettri, our provincial.
Very good evening to one and all. My dear sisters and teachers who are our close collaborators, it gives me joy to be able to connect with you all through this virtual platform. I'm happy that we have a good number of our teachers who have joined for this webinar. We are indeed delighted to have Father George SDB, the director of Ashalayam, Kolkata, as the resource person for today's webinar, who will be speaking on the theme, Psychosocial Integration in Education. I, on my behalf, would like to welcome him and thank him for willingly accepting to animate our sisters and our teachers. Thank you, dear Father. A special note of thanks to Sister Shiji, the Counselor for Education, for organizing this motivating webinar. I'm sure that all of you have come across this famous quote, educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. It was said by none other than Aristotle, a great philosopher. I think this is very true in today's educational system. What exactly do we mean by educating the mind? In simple words, we can say that it is acquisition of knowledge. It can also mean sharpening minds through logical thinking. Educating the heart is more concerned with the qualities that make us human, such as empathy, emotional intelligence, altruism, and so on. This in turn gives us meaning in our lives. Let me draw your attention to the person of Jesus. If we look at the life of Jesus, we know he was a teacher par excellence. He was very dynamic in his teaching because he wanted to motivate the people and help them experience true happiness. He wanted to motivate not only their minds, but their hearts too. He was very knowledgeable, yet committed, loving, and compassionate. He knew his audience very well. Through the methodologies that Jesus used in his teaching, such as parables, stories, illustrations, study trips, demonstrations, question and answers, lecture method, and other resources, he was able to educate both the mind and the heart of the people, especially that of his disciples, his close collaborators in his mission, who in turn became great educators of faith and was able to inspire the lives of many. As educators, we have been vested with a great responsibility to educate minds and hearts of our students. The aim of real education is all-round development, both cognitive as well as emotional. Gandhi would say, by education, I mean an all-round drawing out of the best in child and body, mind, and spirit. The Msmsd vision of education clearly states, educate persons with character and competence to build a civilization of love. Education is an art to live the life in a civilized way. Why is an educated mind with uneducated heart is no education at all? Because a student may have the potential to succeed and bring good results, but may not have morality or ethics. Uneducated heart also lacks leadership quality and creativity. Also, if a person lacks ethics, he may misuse his knowledge. So we can say that educated mind with uneducated heart has no use or may have bad use. As per my opinion, education on a whole is not only acquisition of knowledge and skills, but also the understanding of values, belief, and basic behavior of a person. Knowledge and skill goes to the student's mind, and qualities such as good values, ethics, and good mannerism towards other.
Lisa, please unmute.
Hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Did I miss any point?
One sentence, just one sentence before.
Okay. I'm sorry. As per my opinion, education on a whole is not only acquisition of knowledge and skills, but also the understanding of values, belief, and basic behavior of a person. Knowledge and skill goes to the student's mind. Qualities such as good values, ethics, and good mannerism towards other fellow beings goes to the heart. While imparting education, we need to remind ourselves that educated mind and educated heart both are dangerous when they are alone. On the first day of the webinar, Sister Philomena Matthew, the Superior General, spoke about the input and the output in our education system. If the input is only to educate mind of the student, then our output will never be to educate the heart. Let's look a little deeper into what we have been talking so far. Educated mind without educated heart. Many people in the world are using their knowledge without integrating it with compassion and a positive outlook for the society. Take, for example, terrorists like Bin Laden, who was a chemical engineer by profession, who used all his brain to do worst inhuman and barbaric activities. Hitler is another example who misused the power and led to genocide known as the Holocaust, which resulted in the deaths of some 6 million Jews. On the other hand, educated heart without educated mind. This is more dangerous when it comes to personal level than social level. A person without educated mind is always dependent on other people in many aspects of life, which will in turn move them to depression and an inferior mind. In other sense, uneducated mind can be easily fooled by anyone around. Looking around the world today, human family is in crisis. People buying and throwing things in such a way that our planet is being treated as a garbage dump, companies selling their products without being concerned about health and well-being of people, and some of the educated minds are indulging in some of the heinous crimes. Take, for example, a simple incident. Supposing if an accident takes place, we see that instead of helping the injured, today people are busy clicking pictures. These are few examples which show lack of empathy and compassion in hearts of people. The real motive of education is being defeated. When we teach our students how to love everyone in spite of the individual differences, how to share their ideas, talents, abilities with one another without selfish motive, how to respect each other irrespective of caste, creed, and culture, and help them to reach out even to their greatest enemies who have hurt them, then we can say that we have educated the heart of the students, and that our hope, and that is our hope that they should be that. Our education must emphasize on social skills and values such as compassion, kindness, truthfulness, justice, equality, forgiveness, sharing, etc. Saint Mother Teresa of Kolkata, Mahatma Gandhi, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, Nelson Mandela, all of them made a place in hearts of people, not just due to their intellect, but because of their humanism, their ability to connect with people. Are we aware that we are shaping the lives of future students? Students who are not only educated in mind, but also heart. I perceive education as a tool, a means to an end, not an end in and by itself. The ultimate purpose of learning has to do with being and doing. It is a way that shapes a person to evolve and become an authentic human being. Unless the innermost person is affected by what information provided to the intellect, there is no way to be and do. As educators, our effort is to bring together knowledge, compassion, and mindfulness synergistically so that we may develop more accurate understanding of the world around us. We need to listen to our hearts, relearn what we think we know, and encourage our students around us to think and behave differently, to behave compassionately. Swami Vivekananda says, we need the kind of education by which character is formed, strength of mind increased, the intellect is expanded, by which one can stand on one's own feet. The world today stands in need of social systems renewal in global age, and schools represent a key cultural institution that can shape new generations of young people to be forces of good in the world. The question confronting those of us engaged in education as a primary means of social change in this regard is this: how can we better educate our students today, not only in the academic skills and knowledge they need to succeed in the global economy, that is the head level, but also in the social, emotional, ethical heart level and practical skills, that is our hand. Therefore, it is good to ask ourselves, what is my aim in educating the students? Do we promote growth mindset over fixed mindset? Here, what I mean by growth mindset is that growth mindset learners believe their abilities and talents can be cultivated and improved through hard work. They enjoy a challenge and see struggles and failures as necessary part of growth. They are certainly more motivated to work hard. On the other hand, a fixed mindset learners try to prove themselves and will often shy away challenges because they do not want to appear to be struggling. Therefore, what do I promote? Do I promote growth mindset over fixed mindset? Do I aspire to inspire the students? When both of these aspects, that is education of mind and education of heart, are blended well, then we can say that we have succeeded in imparting quality education to our students. Let me take this opportunity to congratulate all our principals, headmistresses, sisters engaged in the school, and all our teachers for your hard work and good effort you put in helping our class 10 students to bring good result. I know due to the pandemic and challenging situation, and with no selection being conducted, it wasn't that easy to prepare the minds of the students as you desired for. I'm sure some of you might be happy with the result and some may not be. Let's not sit back and regret for what has happened, but look forward to how we can work together to do better. I would request all the principals and the headmistresses to evaluate the strength and weaknesses of the teaching process, organize meetings with the teachers and parents, and keep motivating the students from the start. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. Let's be committed to our vision, give wings to our actions, to our commitment, and I'm sure our action to commitment will bring closer to our dream. Let me conclude with the words of Saint Mother Teresa. None of us, including me, ever do great things, but we can all do small things with great love, and together we can do something wonderful. Let's do something wonderful for our students too. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Sister Lisa, for the message that has taken us to the core of education. Your motivating speech has touched us and moved us to understand the importance of education and the interest and passion we need to invest in the education. Thank you so much for challenging us and inspiring us to move ahead with hope. Thank you so much, dear Sister Provincial. We now move on to the session on the theme of today, psychosocial integration in education. Before we move on to the session, may I now call upon Sister Escociana, our Vice Provincial, to welcome and introduce the resource person. Sister Esco.
Thank you, Shiji. Indeed, I'm very happy to be part of this webinar. And I thank Sister Shiji for giving me this great privilege of introducing Father Dr. George Chempakathinal. I am also a part of close association with Father George. Am I audible?
Yes, Sister.
Okay, thank you. Father Dr. George Chempakathinal SDB is an associate professor, presently the executive director of Don Bosco Ashalayam, Kolkata. He has doctorate in childcare and empowerment and has 2 postgraduate degrees in education and sociology. Right from his theological studies in Sacred Heart, Shillong, he was taking lead for youth groups and movements, and he is closely linked with the MSMHC for years. He is known for his passion for youth, and he has over 30 years of experience with the young people in marginalized situations, school settings as principal of Don Bosco schools in Lilua and Bandel, Kolkata. And for the last 10 years, he was in Salesian College, West Bengal, heading various academic departments. He is also a trainer for the BWork program of Tata Institute of Social Sciences, counselor, guide, and examiner for PG education programs of IGNOU, research guide for Assam Don Bosco University, Guwahati, and member of the Board of Studies of BSW and PG Education of North Bengal University. Over to Father George.
Thank you, Sister Esco, for doing that important job. Now over to the resource person.
Well, good evening to all, and I want to thank you for the warm welcome and also for the words of Sister Provincial, who has really put us into the context talking about education and how a true education should take place. Many things she insisted on and talked about. I would like to, in my presentation, I have actually 3 parts. Mine is basically practice-based, because I've been working with the so-called less privileged or underprivileged for 13 years towards rehabilitation. The other day we made a count, and we have helped almost 155,000 children for their restoration or rehabilitation. Then as a principal of 2 top schools in the city here, I come across quite many thousands of another class, so-called higher class, in terms of finance and in terms of facilities and all that. Now, some of whom I know have become partners with me in this project. And as Sister said, in the last 10 years with young adults in the college, teaching different subjects and being academically and also as a counselor to many other students. Well, I like to begin with the PowerPoint presentation. As I said, I have 3 parts, and I will not go beyond the time. I will try to go fast because many of the things, as I said, you know the theory aspects. I thought I will share some experience of mine, which may be beneficial or helpful to you. I hope I am clear and I am not too fast, because I am normally known for talking very fast. In case I go very fast, you can ask me to slow down, because I normally think fast, walk fast, talk fast, and also get things done fast. So in case I'm fast, you don't follow, please remind me and I will get back. I'll go slower. Is the slide clear to you? Can you see the slide?
Yes, can see.
Okay. Now I want to put a full.
No.
Presentation. Okay.
Slideshow.
Yeah, but the top is.
Next.
One.
After animations, slideshow.
Transition. Only covered with the other one. 1 minute. Okay. Okay, it's full. It's clear.
Yes, it's clear.
Well, as I told you earlier, I was in this project in the beginning, the early 90s, up to 2000. Then I had my school journey, and I came back in 2011. So, 2008. Then there was a particular girl. The photo is different. The name is going to be different. Who was actually into 3 or 4 homes of sisters looking after the girls. Every one of them said they cannot keep this girl. And I was new as a director. And the only option we had was to send her to the government home. And I know the home having at that time almost 500 girls from the age of 1 to 30, 35. And you can imagine how the situation could have been. So I was not really prepared, or rather didn't want to send her. But everybody said, Father, we have no other option. Nobody wants to keep her. But I knew a counselor in the city, and I sent this girl to her. She must have just 11 years, 12 years, this girl at that time. After about 1 hour, or rather the counselor came here, and then after about 1 hour, the counselor came to speak to me and said, Father, this girl is exceptionally talented. And this girl can make a good future. And she identified the problem because she gave something for her to draw. So this girl drew a nice picture of this scenery where a river was running, the grass and the trees, and one tree was quite high up in the sky. And the counselor asked her to explain this particular drawing that she made. And she said, I want to belong to this beautiful creation, the nature. And I want to be like this tree. I want to grow tall. I want to be big. I want to be someone. Then talking further, she said, she identified the problem and said that she does not trust anyone. And I said, no, we are all very fond of her. We gave her all what she wanted. And we are exceptionally concerned because, she has nobody. She's an orphan. All that we said. And she said, Father, whatever you said is true. But she has not accepted any of you as her own. Her story is this, that she was actually in a village. And either her mother died or went away. And the father came over, living in the village, came over to Howrah station. And then, of course, as a child of 5, 6 years old, she was roaming around the station. And the father was like a coolie. And they were carrying on. One fine day, when she came, she found the father lying down, and he was dead. And a young girl like her didn't know what to do next, started crying. And then I had one of my earlier boys there, tried to console her. And then, of course, the normal police case, and the father was taken. And then this girl was brought to our place. That's the story of background of this child. And so this counselor said that she is not trusting in whatever you do. It is not communicating to her that we are trustworthy. Apparently, she is friendly and very nice, but she becomes a misfit, or rather, she is not able to get along with her companions and with who are looking after them because she does not trust anyone. And this counselor said, please carry on till she finds that there is one sister or one father, one volunteer, one teacher whom she can trust. On that day, she will be different. And she carried on. I know that for next Next 10 years more, she carried on in one of the homes and she completed class 12. I met her once again after that. That's what I know about her. So I'd like to begin from this. That is, we have children with us. We do a lot for them. Okay, now from there, I would like you to, I'm not going to go elaborately on this because I think practically all of you have done your B.Ed studies in which you must have come across theories or other psychologists who have talked about development and various aspects that I can help them. And there are so many of them. I just mentioned a few, like Erikson, who talks about psychosocial intervention, or the word psychosocial, that is coined by Erikson. Then we have Freud, Maslow. I'll just say a few words about them, not elaborately, because it's all in the net. Today, as I said, as I know that knowledge is everywhere. It's only leading people to them. So there's nothing that we can give new to the students. Like when I was in the college, I tell them that what I am teaching is, I've taken some books, some from the website and this and that, is all available to you as well. Therefore, there's nothing new that I can give. What is important is on the topic, am I able to make you understand and help you to search further into this? So maybe you have studied about these psychologists, and if you like to know more about them, the website, or if you can get back to me, definitely I can help you on that. Erik Erikson talks about personality through 8 stages. 8 stages of psychosocial development, which goes from early age till the person is elderly. And what he talks about is that it is important that every person successfully completes every stage. Mark my words, successfully complete every stage, not just carrying on. A child in a poor family, child-rich family, an average family, everybody is growing. But is he or is she successfully completing his or her? That's very important. And thirdly, healthy personality acquisition. Now the different stages are given here. Stage 1 is, I'm not going to talk about, as I said, infancy, in which trust versus mistrust. So if a child is not trusted, the trust is really developed when the child is very young. And then there's toddlerhood, where autonomy against shame. Then there is stage 3, preschool years. And stage 4, that is where we are concerned about, or we come across, where the child learns to work against laziness or against, against inferiority. And the first is the preschool is initiative against guilt. Stage 4 is early school years, industry against inferiority. And stage 5, that is the most critical period where we are concerned about adolescence, where there is identity against confusion. The most crucial we can talk about, all of us as teachers in our school, we deal with some of this. Maybe you could spend some time trying to analyze more about this, which may be beneficial to you. That is 12 to 18. And adolescents explore their independence and develop a sense of self. That's the time they want to be free. They want to be independent. And they want to show that they are someone. And that's where the parents will say, don't do that, don't do that. Teachers were no, no, and carry on. And there the conflict comes. So here comes, is the child able to successfully complete this stage? If not, what happens? We'll come to it later. Then you have heard about Freud, very common, but very popular. His principles are basically ego and superego. And the teacher's role is help the child to control his instincts. Because we know that animals work on instincts, human beings on reason. So develop the reason more and more. That probably is the superego It's impossible to give him liberty to carry out all his impulses without restriction. That I think all of us know, as teachers, as parents, all of us know that. Consequently, education must inhibit or limit or forbid or suppress. It looks on the negative side. Implications. Contributes to psychology and learning theory with his discovery, emotional nature of unconscious motivations. Freud talks a lot about what happens in your unconscious level that affects your real life. What is unconscious, what is within. Whatever experience that you had that has an impact on you. Whatever that you have been, maybe you have forgotten, but they have formed you. And they may remain unconscious, but they'll pop up now and then. And that will affect your behavior with other people. Therefore, it's very important to know the person with his or her background. The story I said, where she felt rejected, where she felt not wanted, that that was part of her life. It is difficult to come out of it. The nature of conflict is between ego and superego, which I think all of you know. This was studied, as I said earlier. And this conflict progresses through 5 stages. And at each stage, it's a different focus. That is first oral, then anal, then phallic, then latency, and genital. As I said, I'm not going into details of this because these are all theories which is good to help. Good that you go through it when you have time. Next is about Maslow. Maslow is another person who talks about the hierarchy of needs. All of us have needs, and he says that this needs motivates people. So in fact, this theory is used by many counselors in motivating people. It is used in the industry. It is used all over today, very, very popular. It is also used in the educational circles. He suggests that before the individual meets their full potential, they need to satisfy a series of needs. If these needs are not fulfilled, we become misfits. When the hierarchy of needs, when they are not really offered to the child, situation does not permit them, and they will not be able to grow, and the eagerness for learning grows. One of the things I know, we blame a child when the child is not able to perform in the class. One of the seminars that I attended, the person said, if you're in a remote village, if the parent's health is not okay, if the childhood in his nutrition was not okay, he may have grown as a big person, but his brain is not developed. Brain requires extra nutrition. That's why you find the poorer families, you find children may not be performing sufficiently because they don't have the capacity to perform. And the teacher is not understanding that. Teacher will carry on saying, come on, study, why can't you? And keep blaming. But if you know the background of that child, probably the child was malnutrition when child was very young. That affected brain development. It looks like anybody else, but not able to retain, not able to study well. So that means that child's need for nutrition was not when the child was small. So the higher up in the hierarchy of a student is, the better the motivation and the student experience effectiveness, or rather he becomes very effective in learning. Well, I'm not going to go anymore into theories because that can become very boring and also very heavy. Now, Tagore, as I heard about being from Bengal, Tagore is very popular. He made a statement, every child comes with a message that God is not yet discouraged of man. Every child comes with a message that God is not yet discouraged of man. The very fact he's using discouraged of man, which means situation is not okay. He has written poetries and dramas, and Tagore's books are innumerable. All of us know that. And he's widely read, and though maybe academically not so qualified in the beginning, but we know that the intelligence that he had, the contribution that he has made into literature. And when he says that when he uses a negative term, not discouraged, that means the human situation is not the best, but still human beings come into existence. So today we have children as gifts of God. God still wants that we care for them the way they require. That's what is important. It's not the way I can or the way I want. But Anthony, when we began this project where I am, we saw lots of discussions. And one of the things that he said was this: every child is supposed to be the result of or fruit of the love of two responsible adults. Every child is the result or fruit of the love of two responsible adults. And he said, the context that we live, that time we were basically working for children from the streets, and we are aware of all the evils that we can think of. And he said, when a child misbehaves, probably the root cause is in his birth, how his parents were. So we can't really blame them. And so he said, these children probably are results or fruits of anger, drunkenness, selfishness, or pleasure, whatever that we can think of negative. As a result, we have children. And then they become misfits. So the problem started where? With the parents. Not with the child, with the parents, their life, that affecting the child, and the child carries on with that, and he grows up. And then we try to blame the children. We try to scold the children. And well, I'm talking in the context of this statement is made in the context of maybe street children or deprived children. But I think these problems are rampant in our own society, in the normal society that we live in. Well, today's context that we have, there's a feeling that the poor are problematic, or rather the rich are well off, and things like that. It is not so. Problems are everywhere. And I'm talking with a certain amount of authority because I have worked full 10 years in top schools where we have the richest of the area studying. And I have come across personally so many of them. And I have also worked with the poorest, and I also worked on the higher level. Therefore, the society that we live in, it is affecting the child right from the moment or before his birth, through parents, to the child, and the child dealing with that. Well, I'll have some more time to talk about it later, how the society influences the child. Today's society is, I don't think I need to elaborate. It is consumeristic society, pleasure-seeking society, self-seeking society, class or caste struggle. Just today, for example, a day supposed to be a holiday. One lady comes to my office and she wants to admit her child. And I normally don't admit them. I send the child to the child line. We have two child lines here. And then that person investigates the case. And then this child belonged to this lady in one marriage where she had, and child is 7 or 8 years old. And then her husband left her and married somebody else. In the meantime, she married another person. She's got another child. Now think of this particular child situation. So then I said, it is your child, you've got to look after, you've got a new husband, the husband you look after. Now, how do you expect this child to be normal as he grows bigger and bigger? Now, even in our elite society, we have problems of this sort. Some years ago, I remember Dr. George Kellingal from the US, maybe some of you are in seminars. He came and then he was saying that in India, at that time, he said the divorce rate is 37% or so, or 34% or so. And he said in the US, it is 47. And in the coming, I think 2050 or 40, he said, it is going to be 100% divorce in the US. The society is going to be that. Where are we as human beings? Where are we as social beings? Where are we as family beings? And these problems, I'm sure all of us are seeing in and around us. And the children who come into our schools, well dressed, neat, nice looking, but look at what they have been, what they are, you'll find a different story. Many of them, I'm not saying all of them, but quite many of them. So these deprivations of human concern, human affections, all that affects children. I'm not going to talk more about people living in the margins, but I'm talking about people living in the mainstream. They too children experience lots of deprivations. I would like to share a case study. I read an article the other day. It's sort of a case study. It's basically basing on rape. And this person is saying that how people or children born of rape, how they suffer. It's a study made in the US again. They suffer psychological disorders, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. I'm sure if any of your psychologists are aware of that. Otherwise, you can Google and find out what it is and how it affects children. Depression and anxiety. It's a particularly sickness or other disorder with children victims of rape or other children born of rape. They suffer this. Maternal stress. That is the embryological development. While child is being developed, definitely for rape means child is going to suffer. Recently, I came across a case where a 13-year-old girl, she's expecting, just 13. And they try to blame A, B, C, D, F and all that, going to make a big problem in a village. And I knew this child quite some time ago onwards. But finally, on inquiry, we found, because they want to go for a case and all that. And I simply said, definitely good to find out who and what and all the details. But remember, the day the person is identified, he is going to be in jail for lifetime. Because you know, the normal rules that we have got. She is a minor and whatever that she is. And then on close scrutiny, I knew somebody else who was very close to family. There was close scrutiny, I found it was her own stepfather. And immediately the whole family hushes up the whole case. Nobody knows about it. Child is sent somewhere. I myself don't know where he is, but there's a child is in safe hands, and somebody is already willing to adopt that child. Another rich family looking after this particular child of 13. Now think of the struggle that this child is going through. 13, not grown big enough to bear a child. And then somebody else told me, definitely she's going to have huge issues when the child is going to be born. And all that is going to affect this child. Tomorrow you may have a very well-off family wanting a child and adopting this child and look after and all that. But it is not going to be easy for that child to grow as a normal child. And all these details they may not know. This is what I'm trying to say, that things that we are not aware of, the burdens that we are not aware of, the child is carrying them. Apparently, we see a smiling face in the morning. I know I used to stand at the gate of Rambaso School, Bandel, and then other children come in. I used to say, good morning to all those who walk in. And then they're all so happy, all smiling. But behind them, the scene is different. And we're carrying on to suppose the mother takes medication, antidepressant medication, all that's going to affect the fetus. Now, in this particular study, at that particular year, there were 32,000 pregnancies and only 12,000 was carried out to the end. 32,000 pregnancies as a result of rape, and only 12,000 gave birth or rather went to the completion. All the rest, I suppose, you know what happens or whatever ways they have. But then only 12,000 children were born of this 32,000 pregnancies. And this affects their mental health issues, poor parent-child relationship, and missing the loving bond. So all that is fruit of that. When this child will be rejected, and that affects the child, and that leads him to mental health. Today we are going to talk about psychosocial well-being. That's why I came to this context of how mental health is affected, how well-being is affected right before or from birth onwards. Poor parent-child relationship, missing the loving bond of the parents, because parents probably forcing now this particular child of 13. Definitely, in fact, she asked, can I join school after that? So she wants to have a normal life after that. Which is, she is rejecting this child basically. She only wants to complete the process, and the doctor said it's too late for an abortion or whatever you think of, and not legal as well. So they decide to go through the end. But this child wants, after this delivery, wants to go into normal school. So which means definitely child is not really accepted. And sometimes the child also will feel guilty of the father's guilt passed on to this child. Well, so far what I said, anything that you want to ask or anything you think that I was not clear about, anybody? Any questions? Anyone, any questions?
If anyone has any questions, can unmute and ask. Okay, there seems to be no questions. So we
Okay,
can
in that
proceed.
case, the next slide I have is, sorry, is 1 minute. I would like you to look at this picture. A picture is clear?
Yes.
I want everybody to look at this picture for about a minute or two. Close your eyes for next 3 minutes and see what are thoughts that are coming to your mind. We are talking about psychosocial support, or rather for education. And so in that context, how wounded our children are. I already spoke about them. And I would like you to have a look at this picture. In fact, this picture was in that particular article on rape. So I thought maybe we'll just look at the picture for a minute and just close your eyes for 3 minutes, 2 minutes, and see the things that, the thoughts that are going through your mind. I think the break is enough. Shiji, do you want to give 5 minutes break? No, 10 minutes break to them now.
I think it's, maybe we can take a break, 5 minutes break and come back.
Yeah, I have no problem. I can go to the next after that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, then thank you. After 5 minutes, we meet. You can announce to them, huh? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We shall take a break of 5 minutes and be back. Okay, can we be back? We shall continue with the mission. Okay. Can carry on.
Okay, once again, good evening to all. I hope all of you are clear about what I said so far. Any comments? Anybody wants to say something about whatever I said so far? At least 1 or 2 comments just to know where you are and how you are. Anybody? In a class, always you want to get a response, know how things are. Otherwise, at the end of the whole program, if you say that you could not follow, or it was too difficult or too simple, then it'll be too late. Now we're just halfway through. In case somebody tells me how it was so far, it will be beneficial to me to continue. Any volunteers? Anybody?
Father, so far it has been, we are with you, we are understanding very much. We are eager to hear you, the second and the next part.
Okay, then we carry on.
What you are saying, yeah, we are understanding it.
Okay, you can see that?
Yes.
Well, it is practically a school scene, right? Well, I would like to talk about, I remember when I was appointed principal of Don Bosco School, Lilua, in my first month itself, a class teacher came and told me, Father, I have a child in my class, that child has to be rusticated. So I said, ma'am, and I was new to the school, and also as first time being principal of a big school like that, I said, ma'am, how a class 2 child, how can that be possible? And she said, we managed him from KG with difficulty, class 1 also problem, and is continuing the same issues in class 2 as well. His issue was that he will go and beat up other children. Whenever you find, when in the class, suppose the teacher is teaching, he'll go and simply beat a child, and somebody will go and kick a child. And once the teacher said, I made him stand near the wall, and I was writing on the board. When I turned to the board, he went and kicked one boy and came back, and the boy started crying. Now the problem is gone to the other parents, and the parents are reacting. And what do we do with a child like this? And just class 2. And that time again, I had referred this matter to, we had a school counselor. I spoke to him, and he spoke to the child. Then the counselor wanted to meet the mother. The mother was called the following day. Then, of course, the father. It was a bit of process. At the end, to make the story short, the counselor said, Father, what went wrong is that this is the only child in the family. And for whatever reasons, from the time the child was 3 years or 2 years, the moment the child was able to, walk about, this father was always beating him and punishing him and very cruel to him. Of course, the counselor, when he asked the mother said, it is true. And the mother, in fact, cried, saying that the father does not show any affection to this child. And now, as the child is growing, he has become aggressive to any other male, because he is considering his father as a male, and he cannot go against the father because he's too big. So he's going against other male children who are younger to him. Then, of course, the process of keeping him and then counseling the mother and the father and the whole family together took about 6 months. The matter was solved. And finally, I know the child completed the class. See, we as teachers, sometimes, we expect the best of behaviors and we don't have the patience. I know we've got to deal with so many children. But then every child has got a story to say. That takes me to this particular child. Another one, again, as I said, This was a person who was into 2 or 3 homes actually, and basically an orphan child. And then one day it happened, this happened hardly a month ago. This child was sent forcibly to her so-called sister, and she was fed up and didn't want to keep her. And none of our homes were sisters, nobody wanted to keep her. No teachers wanted her. And then they all decided, we'll send this girl to the government home. That's the next option. And she's just going to be 18. So they said, let's do it fast, because once 18, they won't take. Before 18, she's still a child. And again, I called 3 or 4 educators who are with this child. And one particular home said, Father, we'll take her back. We'll talk to her and see. After it's a girl child, we shall see. And they came, 2 of them came. And there are 2 counselors and 1 more educator. And they came to my office. I said, being a grown-up girl, I said, it's better you to deal with her, you talk to her and address the issue and see how we can help out this particular girl. They spent an hour and a half. In between, I went and I found this girl shouting, this child shouting and talking down. I simply opened the door and said, come on, control your voice, talk gently, that's all. And I came back. After an hour and a half, the adults who were said, Father, we have failed. We just cannot, we will not manage, and nobody is willing to take this girl. So they were back to the same conclusion. I said, let me talk to her. And to my advantage, I knew this child when she was 5 years. Now she's 17 plus. And I simply said, why and what and all that. And I already knew her story. She was actually sold by her mother to another lady. She and 1 more sister. And this lady owned up, one of them was her child, not the second one. So right from the childhood, she was rejected. And she said, I have nobody. No one cares. Then I tried to prove to her that people care. Because the very fact of keeping you for the last 13 or 12 years, I mean, people care. We didn't have to keep you. The very fact of that day, this education, the teachers came to take, or the home caregivers came to take you, 5 of them came, they want to take you. I mean, they care. So like that, I gave different ways of telling her, making her understand that it is your lack of understanding, but actually people care. Where I told her, you won the fight over 5 ladies by shouting, but you lost your future. She put her head down. After talking for some time, she said, Father, it's my mistake. Can you give me a chance? I said, no, it's all over. Who will take you? None of the teachers who came want to take you, and I have no other place. Then she started weeping. Then finally, as last resort, we have a shelter for girls where girls stay for temporary, and you can stay for time being, then we shall see next. Well, she has joined class 11 already, and she wants to become a nurse and all that. Again, to tell you that she, as a child of 17 plus, could argue over those adult educators who are 25 plus, 30 plus, 35 plus, and among them 2 are, or 1 is an MSc psychology, 1 is an MSW, all qualified people. But she talked over all of them. See the amount of grudge or other amount of anger on a venom in the particular child. Now, how all this happens? William Schutz is a psychologist who talks about just 3 aspects which controls a person. The title is Fundamental Interpersonal Relationship Orientation. If you Google this, you'll find this. And there's also a test we can conduct to find out where you are, how you are. Well, talking about this, I had performed this test to a group of students, not a group, 3 groups of students, sometime when I was in the college, my 3rd year, 2013-14. A group of students were the village school-going children. And another group, so-called the top English medium schools that we have got like Don Bosco, Park Circus, Don Bosco, Lilua, all these top schools. And a third group, children who were sometime or other in deprived situation, basically Don Bosco, Ashalayam, and who changed their life, like your Snehalaya there, who changed their life and became in the mainstream and started performing well, a group of those. So I had three groups. One is with all the privileges, the city. Second is a village setting, fairly average families. And the third is a group that was earlier deprived, but now given possibilities, they come to the mainstream society. And this test was, there are the questions, you'll all get them in the net. This test was basically to assess their emotional well-being. And to my surprise, the total, 93.8% scored less than the desired range. There's a number coming there. A number is given, I think 35 to 55, some numbers are there. Within this range means they're in the desired range. That came only 8.2%. The rest, sorry, 91. The rest 91.8% were not in the desired range as regards their emotional wellness. And I got all these details and I presented in a teachers gathering of some 400 teachers gathering. I presented these details. Teacher said, impossible. You made a mistake. How can you say that in my class 90% children are sick or are not emotionally balanced? How come? Impossible. Your test is not correct. I simply asked my question. If you take today 100 children to a doctor for physical checkup, as regards a physical wellness, how many of them will come out as totally okay, that not having a stomach ache or a headache or a knee pain or a toothache or an eye problem, or how many will come out as okay children, and how many will come as maybe serious, maybe less serious, but one way or other they are affected in their health? Then they said, oh, correct, Father. Almost all the children have some sickness or other today. There are very few who are really, we can say, absolutely healthy. And I said the same with the mind as well. Emotionally, again, your mind, you are the desired range, or other people who are really well are very few. And most of them have got some sort of a backlog, some sort of an emotional issue. That is, then the teachers accepted it. And to go further, who are the more emotionally, who scored higher in terms of emotional wellness? I talked about three groups. A group that's in the city, having the best of everything, the top schools. Second, I talked about village schools where we have average children studying in a village setting. The third, I talked about children who are rehabilitated, or other children from deprived situations, the slums or from streets or whatever problems they had. They went through all that problems and they got opportunities, possibility to study and they get mainstream. And those who scored the highest in terms of emotional wellness are these third group. They had the worst in their life, and with the interventions of various type, they changed. And they scored the highest. And those who scored second are those in the village. And the city schools, they scored the least in terms of emotional wellness. Well, you can make your conclusions. I'm not saying that I'm absolutely right, and I don't want to be judgmental or anything of that sort. These are an indication where we are, how to help our children to enjoy emotional wellness, which is so very important. Well, this William Schutz, a psychologist, he talks about three aspects of inclusion, affection, and control. Now, I already said what is FIRO, fundamental interpersonal relationship orientation. That is which we all of us develop right from our childhood, and we develop that orientation basing on these three. Now, people all require. We all want to have emotional congruence. Means emotionally we are well set in the desired level. That is in our psychosocial level. That is in my mind, in my social level, I am fit. I'm okay. I'm happy. That stage all of us need to reach. Basically, people need people. That's what Shute says. Right from, as I said, from birth or childhood, we all need people. Today in our families, we require people. If you find an empty home, so miserable we feel. The school, we require children. I'm sure many of us are missing our own children, not to come into classrooms, and we know that the children are missing you as well. People need people. And these people and those who are around you, they are a need, but they help you to orient yourself to certain amount of behavior patterns in your life. So we all depend on people, and those same people help you to be what you are today. They set the tone for your orientation. How you are today, it all depended on the way you have been dealt with, or you have been mixed with, or you have been influenced with the others. That's what Shute says. And basically, going back to the need theory of Maslow, it is need fulfillment. I approach people for my need. A child cries for milk, need fulfillment. And basically, remember, psychologically, all of us have got need for inclusion, control, and affection. Maslow talks about our physical, starting with basic needs of necessities, food, and all that. But here, Shute talk about a psychological or mental or emotional requirement. We all need to be included, to be in control, and we need experience people's affection. That is, we need to feel significant, that I am someone. We need to feel competent, and I am likable. I want to be someone. We need to express ourselves in our feelings and our behavior. That's why we develop a self-concept. And interpersonal communication, the entire process and practice of exchanging ideas, living with people, how we share information, and basically how we live together. That is how we live in a group, in a family, a society, in a school, wherever we are, and how we get ourselves, we get these three needs fulfilled. And if you really want to have the desired range emotional wellness, we must have harmony in our life as we live together, in our feelings, whatever we experience that we have got, and environment that we have got, and the environment must not be negative. They must contribute positively. That's why we said a child born in a good family, but a good environment, definitely will perform better. So all that, the examples I gave, all that is because of their background. The child in class 2, a top school, English medium school in Don Bosco, no teachers can live with him. Why? Because the father was not okay. The family was not okay. And that has affected him. Well, in this, we are not talking about material needs, but about psychological security, emotional balance, and mental health. I'm going slightly faster because I know the time is running short. Now, talking about inclusion. What is inclusion? It's the amount of belongingness in a group. How I feel that I am given attention in a group. How I am recognized in a group. How important and how do I participate? I have decided and expressed. My thought goes straight back to a meeting I had in Salesian College, Sonada, the third year students of the English department, honors department. I was just having an evaluation with them. And one other girl, I asked at least a few of you share. And nobody wanted to share except one or two. I saw one girl putting her head down. I said, come on, why don't you share? You're already third year in the college. She did not put up her head, did not talk. And I did not insist too much. And I went to the office. She comes to the office and says, Father, I'm sorry, I did not tell you anything. And I didn't want to share. I don't have the confidence to share in a group like that. I said, what happened? She simply started weeping and she said, way back when I was in class 3, she said, one teacher asked a question And I got up and I answered. And teacher said, "You stupid, you sit down." And everybody laughed. And she said, from that day till today, I have never stood up in any other classes. I never talked to anybody. Always that thought, I am stupid. I said, "You are already an English honors student, you are passing." "Well, father, that's all correct. But in public, I feel I am stupid." Think of this child, that one statement of the teacher. Maybe we are not thoughtful. We are just ignorant. We just don't bother. Or we are dealing with a group. But for that child, that statement was very important, or rather has affected her for her whole life. She finished the class 3 to 4 to 5 to up to class 12, and the college finished her graduation. She will not talk. Well, I had another month more time to spend some more time talking to her and all that. And what I helped possible, I did. Well, what I'm trying to say is that all of us want to be included. In a football team in the school, we select our children for football. We select first 20, then 15, then 12. How do we deal with them? How do you explain to them? There can be children who feel rejected because he's thrown out of the team. Unless it's explained to the person well, unless it's done gently. And in the present scenario that we live in, we are totally living in a situation where choosing and rejecting. When you go to a mall, what do? You choose lots of things. Same in a school, what do? You choose lots of people. So some are very friendly, very talkative. What about the one who is not talking? What about the one who is the backbencher? Am I choosing to be friendly with that person? So the role of the teacher is very important. How to make every child feel included. So remember, if a child feels that he or she is not included first and foremost in the family, and then definitely in the society, and then in the school, he's going to carry a problem. And in the marking of the questionnaire, of the 54 questions we have, or 52, 1/3 is on inclusion. She'll mark all on the negative without knowing. And with that, she'll score less. So the aspect of inclusion, all of us want, I'm sure in the school itself, you want to belong to the teachers group. Suppose you're a little late and the sister starts off the meeting. Some can feel, she should not wait for me. I don't feel included. But I am called, "Hey, please come and join." I feel included. Or in a group, some child is running. It doesn't matter. You carry on. Let's carry on. Child will feel not included. There's so many ways in which we make the child feel that he or she is not included, and that can affect his or her orientation in terms of behavior, in terms of feelings. Next is control. By the way, any questions regarding the first inclusion? I hope I am clear on that. Anybody has any questions regarding that word inclusion? It's very important. These three, all clear?
Clear, Father.
Okay. Next is control. Control doesn't mean an authority, but influence. All of us know that we all need control, but nothing goes without control. Right from the vehicle we drive is controlled. The aeroplanes, everything controlled. Human beings, right from the birth, child is controlled. So control is part and parcel of our life. But the best control is, as an adult, I am in control of situation. And I am able to control those entrusted to me or to me. That's the best. But if I have no control of what my situation, of my life, of others, then it is a problem. So when we control the child too much, child becomes sick. The parent who is too strict, the tutor who is beyond or too strict, it becomes a problem. Therefore, control is very important, that the child gets a desired level of influence. The child has a capacity to lead, a sense of confidence, a sense of responsibility. That child is able to decide for himself or herself. A certain amount of power is given. I know when I was to teach some 25 years ago, you go to a classroom and ask a question, who can answer? You find nobody wants to answer. Today, you walk into a class, ask who can answer? Everybody's hand is up. All want. Because all are on the forward. The change that is there. Well, it is good, but in that, how do you develop this aspect that a child feels that he is sufficiently controlled for his growth, not over control. not too much. Not like an autocrat, nor a dictat. The child can do whatever he wants. But a balanced control. That's important for a good growth of the child. Next is affection. That is the desired level of rapport a person needs to have. That is, I need to be loved and I'm able to love. I'm able to love and I'm able to be loved by people. Very important. Desired level of rapport. That is, I enjoy the warmth, closeness, sensitivity, and I have enough friends, not too much. When a child is too much cared for, too much pampered, that becomes a misfit. When a child is rejected, not pampered, not looked after, again becomes a problem. So in the area of affection too, the child becomes really social when he gets balanced amount of love and concern. Not too much, not too little. And you know, today, there are parents who are, I had one boy in the college who was so fat. And the only child of the mother and the father, of course. And I saw, why like this? The reason is that the mother cares for him so much. The child does not need to do anything. Eating and sleeping and doing the minimum studies. Nothing else. Over affection. Over, that is feeling of too much of ownership. And that child is not going to be a balanced child. So remember, when in any of these, when the situation is not balanced, that is in terms of control, in terms of affection, or in terms of inclusion, then you find the child becomes a misfit. So now you know how that test was conducted, and now you know how the result I got. So in these only these three areas are tested: the areas of affection, the areas of control, and inclusion. Only these areas were tested, in which we found that 90+ students were not in the desired level as regards their emotional status. Now, the sad part is that when a child is sick, has a toothache or stomachache, the first day the mother may say, wait for 1 day or 2 days. Second day maybe, third day child is taken to doctor. But if a child is misbehaving, because these three things are not at the required level, and child becomes sick, misbehaves, gets angry, not listening to people, or aggressive, or not studying, all that part of this. They only go aggressively and make the person to perform some way or other. No doctors are consulted. No psychologists are consulted. And we teachers do not have the patience or the time or the capacity or the knowledge to go in life of each of these. And be assured, if I found 90+% of children in that common group who are emotional balanced, in our classes too, you find if not 90, 80 or 70. And definitely 40 of them will require professional support. And if you don't do that, they will grow up. They will pass examinations. They will get a job. But they are going to continue in the society as, I won't say completely sick persons, but partially not okay persons. Partially or emotionally not okay persons. And they will add on to the whatever social evils can think of. So society becomes less and less fit for future human beings. So it's very important for us teachers to understand the need of this child for affection, for control, for inclusion, and that we give them. And then we also explain this to parents when required. Like when that child started kicking the person, I had to intervene through the counselor, not by me. And finally, the whole family became well organized, or rather a fit family. I know there are so many examples coming into my mind when I talk about this, but due to shortage of time, I shall continue. Maybe we shall watch a short video. I hope it comes through. Then I can carry on after that, because as I said, can you see it?
You're not able to see.
No?
No. Is it playing there?
It's already playing. Okay.
Permissible.
1 minute, I'll stop and start again. Srikam?
No.
Not yet.
No.
I'll try once again. Otherwise, I will give
I
it up.
think it does not support this.
Okay.
Flash player it is.
Is flash player correct? Does it support?
It looks like that not playing.
Okay. Then it's playing on my screen actually. Okay, I will just say. I'll just briefly say the story of that. It's about a class 4 teacher who found one of her boys not performing well, and then she would mark all red marks, and then the child is going to fail every semester or every examination, and the teacher becomes very aggressive and scolds the boy, and not knowing what to do, and the boy becomes more and more quiet and not able to perform. And then they had a system of keeping these records of children. I don't know if you have that, the cumulative record of children. And she happened to go back to this child record in class 1. And the class teacher wrote, he's an excellent boy, and he's very good in studies and a smart boy. And then the teacher was quite curious. She went to the second year, and they said, he's doing well, and they'll put his name Thomas. Thomas is doing well, and he's a good student. But the second half it came, Thomas' mother is very sick, and the child is slowly going backward in his performance. And by the time the child is class 3, the teacher writes, Thomas' mother died. And he's very sad. His performance level has gone down. The moment this teacher read that, teacher felt so sad. And from the following day onwards, the teacher started having an extra affection for this child, trying to talk to him and make him understand, and no more red marks, even if he does not perform well. And the time of Christmas came, and Christmas gift, every child gives a gift to the teacher. And this Thomas, what he did, he packed up in a brown paper and not well tied, a sort of a shabby looking gift gave to the teacher. As he gave, everybody laughed. Teachers, no, Thomas has given me a good gift. I'm so happy. Teacher made it exaggerated and said, she's very happy with her gift. And the child smiled. And then when Thomas went back home, he opened. He found a bracelet, which are already some broken pearls inside, and also perfume, which is half the bottle. And then she asked this Thomas how this gift came to me. And this child said, well, this belongs to my mother. This bracelet is of my mother, and this scent also she used to use, and half the bottle is here. And now I feel you are like my mother. And then the next time when the party came, this lady wore that bracelet and went to school, wearing that scent. And people said, but your bracelet, something is missing. No, this way it should be, I'm happy. And she was positive. And this boy said, you look like my mother. You smell like my mother. And from that day, the story was different. The boy started performing better, and he passed class, the school. He went to a higher education. And after about 3 years, he writes a letter to this teacher saying that, ma'am, I'm already in the next grade. I'm doing well. I want to thank you. And you are the best teacher I met in my life. And again, life went on. 3 more years passed. Another letter comes, ma'am, I want to thank you because I'm already an MD, going to be a doctor. You are the best teacher in my life. And finally, after 5 or 6 years, he sends another letter saying that, ma'am, my father died a year ago and I'm going to get married. My wedding day, as a custom, there's a place for my parents. Could you come as my parent? And his madam said, sure, I will. And this madam went wearing that same bracelet and also that perfume. And they were in the marriage hall. And this boy said the same, you are like my mother, but the best teacher I ever met. And then this teacher cries and says, I'm not the best. You taught me how to teach. So far I was teaching mathematics and science and this. Now I learn to teach children. So you changed my life. So that is what the story is saying, that how this child background, without understanding how this teacher was reacting, but somehow an opportunity came where his madam was able to go back to his child's past. And because of the loss of the mother of that child, the child could not perform anymore. But the moment the child could see the mother in that teacher, he changes. And mother, understanding that, gives him more and more affection and love. And that boy changes his life and become very successful, and he's a doctor. So that is the story of that which I was going to show to you. Well, now going back to our own earlier slide. So, any questions so far?
I think we can proceed and have the questions.
Okay. So now, as I said again, repeating again, identify in the children need for inclusion, control and affection, and then how to compromise, or rather how to help them in their stage of life wherever they are. That's our role. And when these things are not met, when there's issues, you'll find tension, lack of openness, and they find they're not able to get along well in a group. And today, this study is used by many of the management schools to assess when they want to appoint top managers. What they do is they make the same test. They'll find out how effective they are going to be as managers. 1 minute. I think I already explained, saying that there's a inclusion what is expressed and inclusion what is desired, and that is here in your behavior. That is, I want to be included, but I cannot express that because of whatever I'm suffering from. I want to be in control, but I don't express that control. Or I want affection, but I don't express myself as wanting affection. And I shall not go into details of this, because it all comes out in the way the person relates to others. So in our group, you'll find some are quiet, some are active, some are overactive, some are powerful. Remember, in these 3 areas, either they are misfits one way or other. So it is up to the teacher to identify these and then see how we can help that person to come to a sort of a balanced way of behaving in terms of these areas of inclusion, affection, and control. Now, today our society, coming back to where we live today, we find the children are assisted, or rather they have negative and positive experience of inclusion. They have negative and positive experience of affection. The same way, negative and positive experience of control. And that guides their life. And that gives an orientation to their life. So today, if the child becomes a misfit, the child has an orientation to react. The child has orientation to boss over people. The child wants to bully people. Or the child is lost in his love for people or in a relationship with the boys or girls. All that are their roots in the way they are brought up. The society, starting from the parents to the family to society. Now, as they grow up, it's good to discuss with them in this and understand. Once they understand that they suffer in this, then we can help them out. I had in Solution College the captain, the topper of the institution, very capable, and she was the school captain earlier. She underwent this test, and then she scored very low in affection. While control and inclusion, she was okay. And I asked her, is there an issue, any problem with your life, in your family? Because why you are scoring low in this, not the desired level? She straight away said, Father, my father is a politician. I don't have a mother. I have only a grandmother. And I am today managing my house. You see how she lost that affectionate dealings with the mother or other affection in the family, but she has to be a manager in the house because she doesn't have a mother and grandmother is too old, so she has managed in the house. And father is always busy. Therefore, she grew into the other two and got balanced by managing, but in the area of affection, she had a problem. What will happen is that in future, when she starts her family life, she'll be affected and that'll affect her family. That's how the study is made, how they affect children. Now, from when you go into the managerial level, how this study is analyzing people. This study analyzes as regards self-confidence and how they have relationship as a manager or management and positive attitude. These are 10 skills or other 10 ways in which they are assessed through this test. And so this may be again good for us to analyze and see, do we help our children to be self-confident? That every child, not a few, not the front benchers. And what is their relationship with the teacher or the management? Do they have a positive attitude or always negative? Are they confident when they communicate to people? In the class, that girl whom I said, she cannot even put up her head, only she's a graduate because her past. Is a person a team player? Do they have critical thinking? Are they able to solve problems? And are they receptive to feedback? Today, I know very many people don't want to accept any corrections. That is part of the world today. Now, all that is because in their childhood, the early days, they missed one of these. That's what happened. Therefore, it's up to us to assess and find out if a child has got any deviancy in their behavior. Instead of blaming that person, try to find out, talk to the person and go into their family, rather find out about the family, about the way they were brought up, and you'll find somewhere or other the child is affected. And then we can help out as teachers. I am putting this as a, in fact, when I gave a session to somebody else, I said, we are all in the mold. Like a machine, all the machine parts are built in the mold. The way the mold is, things come out. How do you get a candle? There's a mold and the candle comes out. Today you find so many decorative candles. And then all that is called a mold. And as per mold, we have the product. The same way, as per mold, we have children. So as the family is, we know the children is. So seeing a child can always assess what the family is. And so we may have to get in the family and have some sort of a rapport relationship with them. And then family to have a close relationship with the school as well. And from the family, the close society where they are. Yeah, from there, that place, if you know the area. Because by their behavior, you can make.
1 second.
Yes.
Are we going back to the slides again? Are we going back to the slides again?
No, I'm not. I'm trying to wind up actually because I know
then
I'm already going.
Can we stop the presenter mode?
Okay.
Stop screen share.
Yeah. Screen share.
Okay. Okay. It's fine. We'll carry on.
Yeah. Oh, even the slides?
No, now it's okay.
Okay. Yeah. Now, regarding this, any questions you want to ask about from your experience, how things are? Anybody? If I have one more set of slides, which could be beneficial as regards how to, or rather, how to cultivate, or rather, how to help people for emotional wellness. If it can take maybe another 10 minutes, I can go through it very fast. That is, I will not explain because you're all teachers, you'll understand. Should we do that or wait for any questions?
I think we can go to the slides and we can come back at the
Complete
end
that.
and pose
Yes.
for questions.
Yeah. Okay. Is the slide clear? Can you see it? Yes? Not yet.
No, not yet opened.
Okay. Let's stop here. Yes?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay. As I said, I am not going to explain too much on this because time is less, plus whatever I have explained in one way or other will be helpful, or rather it will be easier for you. Yeah, 1 minute. I'm just going for that. 1 minute. Okay. Now, well-being, when you talk about well-being, what is well-being? That is where a person is able to be comfortable the way things are, where there's physical safety, mental resilience. Have you come across the word resilience? Actually, we develop resilience when we go through difficult times, problems. So in fact, a child who has got more troubles and grown up with that, he or she will be more resilient. When I said about in the study that we made, the children who are rehabilitated have higher, rather better mental wellness because they became more resilient to situations and they're able to cope with situations better. So resilience is something which is very important. So children must be given opportunity to go through difficult times. Only guided way they must go through it, then they become resilient. And ability to maintain social relationship and a continuing capacity to learn. That is well-being. Now, adolescents' mental health. These statements are very, very important. Every child's mental health is important. Remember that. And many children have got mental health problems. I suppose with all what I said so far, you don't contest on that, or rather, it's clear for you. And these problems are real and painful and can be severe. Mental health problems can be recognized and treated. The Peter Lutz, one of the senior psychologists that we have, is 94 today. In the 60s, he was the principal of Salesian College. He's instrumental in getting us education department. And when he met me about 5-6 years ago, he told me, Father, it's high time we start a department of psychology and basically on mental health. He said, today you'll find every sickness can be treated. Any disorder can be treated, but people don't understand that. So educate people to know that every sickness, every mental health issue can be treated either through counseling or through medications. But we call so-and-so, he is mental, she is mental, and we don't accept them. We reject them. But what they require is intervention in terms of professional intervention, and they can be helped. So every child's health is important, and many children have problems, and these problems can be painful and real, and they can be treated. Therefore, we need to have caring families and communities. Now, the present COVID situation. Just a week ago, I was talking to the management, the board of directors of Decathlon. It's a company that sells shoes and cycles and all that. And they wanted to know about children's status in today's situation. When everything was over, one of them said, Father, I want to ask you a question. Well, it has nothing to do with what you talked. He said, my child is in class 8 years old, class 3 or class, in a lower primary school, and she's sick. Teachers are so strict. I just don't know what to do. And if I miss the class, there's fear from the point of view of parents and for the child. So what do you suggest? Then immediately I told them, I'm coming from the college where when I was appointed vice principal, I told the students, I know some of you may not agree to my statement, but this is what I did. I told the students, please don't come to the college every day. They looked at me strangely. Why? Just never said by anybody. I said, you are adults. And certain percent, you can always be absent. One day you got a plate, don't struggle to go to college, sleep on. And even the present situation that we have, there are marks given. 90% gets 5 marks, not 9. So very good, 96, 95, 94 makes no difference. So at that level, make a choice to go when you want, where you want. And I told schools definitely will have to keep your system going. Other school will lose its name. You have to have your regular classes. You must have a tests and everything carrying on. But allow the child to attend classes as per his or her possibility. And let the parent be responsible to make sure the child learns. Today, for example, we know the person examination system. How much useful, or rather, how the child could have also managed with the maybe 60%, 70%, 80% classes and not losing his health. I'm not saying all, but there are children in our schools, in our classes, probably their eyesight is not as good as everybody else's. Maybe they don't have a system that is good for them. Therefore, I told this parent, if I am the principal, I will have a dialogue with the parent saying that you look after your child's learning. This is what is expected of you. This is a syllabus. And we want her to be part of every activity. But if you feel you can teach what we teach, you can give her whatever is missing, and her health is important to care for, you take the liberty. But school keeps going. I'm not saying that school should have less class. I'm not saying that. But that freedom to be given to the child, that's important. So then this man was very happy. The next thing he asked me about, in that case, can you tell some of our school teachers or our school principals about this? Well, now, today in this pandemic, I don't know if you followed NDTV some months ago, constantly talking about the thousands of children who are going to miss education. So many are not going to come back to schools anymore. And so many are losing their health. All that's part of COVID, and that's a challenge that we have to face. In this, some of the problems I mentioned are exposure to emotional violence. That is, of course, the children not being cared for, insisted, and this, like many families, children are locked up, they can't come out. So many college students said, we feel like committing suicide because it is a desperate situation. Can't go out. We are prevented from moving out. What do we do? How long to stay in the 4 walls? Lack of essential services. And all this can lead to long-term consequences for children and the menace of the online system. Well, the world is going to be more online, I know that, distant learning, and that's going to be the order of the day. But how do we strike a balance where health is not lost? Physical as well as mental. As teachers, the greatest challenge, how do I keep up their mental health? Maybe you're trying out different methods and different ways in which children can express, and also kind of some schools having even rectors and or the parents say having online system. I know we've had competitions online, dance competitions where the children dance in the field and take a photo and send it to us. So many things are happening. So I think we have to be more creative and different ways to face this pandemic and make our children more and more healthy, and to go out to the people who are probably having difficulties regarding this. Next, the basis of well-being. A combination of biological, emotional, cultural, social, and material aspects. I think also covered. That means if you really want a child to enjoy well-being, all this are required. Normalization of child's daily life and recreational activities. Social reconnection. Social connection first, and those who lost this pandemic, many are lost connection. Many children want to come. They are not afraid. Some are taking the risk. So social reconnection and reintegration, whatever possible, have the support mechanisms. Utilization of individual and community coping and resilience mechanisms. Discouraging child-family separations. Like parents going to work, the child alone, or can be a system where neighbors come together, or some system where the children do not feel alone. Stress the important role of the caregivers. Well, teachers, we are also caregivers. Focus on the existing education and health, and healthcare systems. Emphasis on the reduction of social discrimination and on a non-clinical identification of problems. We should not judge any child without clinically identifying or rather verifying it. We cannot simply say, so and so 2 days late, he is lazy. Maybe 10 reasons why he or she is late. Or so and so is absent, not performing. And youth participation. Then reducing the risk to children's safety and emotional well-being, promoting an environment conducive to positive development, effective coping and resilience, I already explained, encouraging children's holistic development in an age-appropriate physical, cognitive, and emotional competencies. I want to say a word about this. That is, at the age of 3, 4, 5, how much we insist about their writing, reading, and things like that. Remember, in education, you must learn, first, the child must learn to listen. Second, to read. Third, to write. This is a scientific way. But we made the child to start writing first, start writing practices. First, they must listen to good English, listen to people talking. By listening, they'll have it. Second, reading, the writing. So who really follows the steps? So fostering a secure and stable environment for children. Then coming back to again family and children's right focus. Today, we are living in a world of child rights, where children's rights have to be respected. Their voice has been respected. So give them, many places we hear about child parliament, youth parliament, where children discuss about their education, children discuss about their future, children discuss about what is happening. And that will help to make a child-friendly space, or rather child-friendly society. Recreation, reduce stress in the various activities, but don't demand to the extent of child getting sick or parents getting sick. And education based on interventions where the children are involved, and as far as possible, allow, now already more and more, I think schools are open, at least I know some parts of the country at the earliest. I mean, we make children access the school more and more, even beyond school hours, organizing activities, because these are ways that we can develop their emotional well-being, and we sort of self-esteem, self-efficacy, pro-social behavior. Now, actually, this pandemic is becoming actually anti-social in as much as children are becoming themselves more and more, not able to come into society. I already explained about the psychological and social wounds, so the examples I gave, and how to heal them of their wounds. Peer-to-peer dialogue, school-based counselors. Then good to have seminars. Today we are already having a seminar, but today I have taken into a whole lot of topics. Even Sister Provincial talked in the beginning. She will talk about many ideas, but can we go step by step? Can we take idea by idea and really at threadbare talk about it and how to apply them? That's important. If I gave any examples, that is application oriented. Theories we have plenty. We can have lots of talks, lots of theory talked about. But those theories, how am I implementing in my school? How am I able to identify? How am I able to make it practical in the child's life? And then how do we involve the society? Today, education is no more the child who goes to school and the teacher teaches everything. No. It is an overall concept where parents have their role to play, society has its own role, and school has its own role. All coming together, that is education, the role of educators. And the role of the educator, the teacher. Maybe all of you are qualified, you are in training, but this training has to be a lifelong process. It has to be regular. And training in terms of by reading, by discussion, and maximum by probably by case studies. And all of us have got, I'm sure, so many cases coming to us every day on different levels. And when you study, when you discuss about every case, we get empowered, we get educated. So I hope you will have groups forming to discuss about issues, not individuals. I remember talking about a group of people, they said, there are regular meetings, we don't discuss persons, we discuss issues. So every event, convert it into an issue, discuss about it, and make it a learning possibility. And ultimately, or rather, leading to joyful living. Help children live happily. Not to pressurize them or not to, they feel in any way burdensome. There are so many ways I'm sure you can make them or rather have experienced joyful living. The educator, joyful living. Empower the educators, I already said. Community support, loving kindness. That is from the Don Bosco system. Don Bosco said, reason, religion, and loving kindness. That is trying to understand every child in his or her situation and to help out one-to-one. Is no more a group caring for children. And be a professional in looking after children. And today we also need to include professionals into our life. All the problems we cannot. We need psychologists, we need social workers, we need career counselors. They all have to become part of our setup. And then we find that we are giving a holistic approach to our education. That emotional support, the case of that story of that child, how the emotional support changed the boy's life completely. From zero performance to excellent performance, becoming a doctor. Reaching out to every child. See, there's a statement here that's saying, in order to teach mathematics to John, you need to know John. That's what that teacher did. I know mathematics, but I don't know John. I need to know the student's concerned if I really want to teach him. So we need to be personal in our teaching of children. Now, Karen Pittman and Michelle, these are actually education. If you go to the Google, you'll find they have many articles. They have got, they talk about education. They say that where the youngsters experience an environment as caring when it creates an atmosphere where they feel welcome, respected, and comfortable. 3 words. They feel welcome, they feel respected, they feel comfortable. That's I am at home in this group. I am at home with this teacher. And I am at home. Very important. Structures and opportunities for developing caring relationship with peers and adults. So whatever we have got, it must lead to a caring environment. So adding to that, counseling and being friendly and their expectations being fulfilled and advocacy problems, all that is part of a caring environment. And as a conclusion, I want to say that make your school welcoming and caring. Connect your students with good role models and valued activities. Promote social connectedness. The right-based system where students are part of the design and development. That means it is not I know the curriculum or the syllabus is given by the board. But can we discuss with students, how do we learn this? What is your role? Maybe a group system. At least discuss with them, they become part of it. They may say, ma'am, you teach everything, but they're part of it. So there's a process involved which will lead to joyful living. That's all. Thank you very much. I think it's time. Any questions?
Okay, now floor is open now for interactions.
Must be all tired of the 2 hours listening. In case any of you come to Calcutta, I'm here. You can meet and discuss. Or also any issue, if you find any help required, you can always send to my mail ID and I can respond to you, no problem. Yes, I think all are tired. They all want to go to.
Is there anyone from the floor with any questions? Please unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yes.
Good evening, Father.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Father, for well prepared talk. I just wanted to ask you something about can a student have all the 3 above FIRO?
Yeah.
If so, how to deal with the students with all the above inclusion, role, and affection? How to help them wherever they are?
Well, basically, in inclusion, that we include every child in every activity. That nobody is sitting aside, nobody is outside. Like, for example, I noticed that particular girl has a question. She felt she's sitting in the amongst 35 children, but she feels not included there. So by talking to 1 more, 2 more, 3 more, maybe other children, with the peer relationship development, that child gets accepted. That's inclusion. Regarding affection, of course, show attention. And when you find any sort of, I won't say misbehavior, but not a desired behavior, which means somewhere the child is missing. So when you start talking to the child, automatically we come know what it is, and then you give in whatever the way that you can. That particular boy missing the absence of the mother. Immediately this teacher came to the place of the mother. And she had spent extra time. But at the end of the day, she felt happy about it. I think that's the role of the teacher. It's become very difficult nowadays to be a teacher. That's why you have limited numbers. And secondly, that going beyond the school hours to be one-to-one. In fact, maybe making phone calls to them. And especially the so-called weaker ones, or those whom you know as not so popular, or in every class we know who they are once you start teaching them. And those particular cases that are very difficult, they require professional support. A particular child, I told you, class 2, kicking a child, that's require professional support.
Thank you, Father. Actually, my question is, can a student have all the 3 above FIRO? Like when a single student have all the 3 FIRO?
In a balance, yes. Yes, sister. In fact, I told you of the 100 of them, 8.2 of them were in a desired range. That means 8.2% children were very well, emotionally well balanced. The rest had some issues somewhere, not major, maybe minor. So students can have, the depends where they are brought up. So 8, it's like, as I said, can somebody have a good health? How many can have? Same way, exactly same. In a class, when you go, you'll find maybe 3 or 4 children are exceptionally healthy, no sickness at all. But that's not the majority. Exactly same as regards the physical sickness, same way, mentally also, not the desired range. Am I clear, sister?
Yes, Father, thank you.
Is there anyone else from the floor? I have a question.
Yeah.
In your towards the end or in between, you said with regard to going to the class, attending the classes, allow the children to choose regarding attending class. With regard to that, what do you say? Do you think the children are capable of making such decisions? Especially we deal with small children and then teenagers.
I said children and parents together. If a child is refusing to come, have recourse to the parent and find out what's the problem. And then the parent may say that my child cannot attend 4 classes on a stretch. Then allow that child to attend 3 and then different days, different make changes. I don't allow that small child to decide It's the child and the parents together. But when the child is big enough as an adult, he decides. But the school is not going to change because school is for everybody. School will keep the program going for the 50. But among the 50, they make their choices together with the parents. So at the end of the day, parents are first responsible for them. We can only request them, ask them, talk to them, and tell them the importance. At the end of the day, the parents do their best, keeping the child's health in mind.
Is it with regard to online classes or offline classes?
I would say both. I would say both. But minimum has to reach. Minimum has to reach.
Is there anyone else? If there is any question from anyone.
Just remember always the most successful in academics are not the best performers in the world. Remember that. Neither in the family nor in society. So academically, the most qualified or rather the highest scoring need not be or may not be or mostly not the best performers as family members and society members, social members.
All right, Father, I have one question.
Yeah.
Coming back to inclusion, actually last week we had a case over here in our school that as we were asked to prepare the students for the Independence Day celebration from the district level, so we had to choose only 15 students. So we had called students, so around 20 of them came, and we went on with the practice till the rehearsal day. And then the children were doing quite well. And towards the end that we need to select only 15 students, it was really, really difficult for us to choose the students. And we do really feel bad from our part because the children have been coming for the practice. So in that case, Father, can you help us like how to deal with such situations when children were giving all their best and they were taking active part, but the number is limited. So what to do, Father, in this case?
Right when at the start of it, you must tell the children that children, I need only 10. Now, how many of you want to really compete to be 10? And then the assessment is based on their performance. Then there are no problem. The child will know this time I did not manage. Next time I will manage. At least I got a chance to learn by being part of it. So once the children know that in this particular game or a particular program, only 10 can go. However, to select the 10, teacher is asking all those who want to come. And let me also learn. And then make them understand that they have learned or they have grown by being part of it. But these 10 will represent our school to bring name for us. And we are happy we are part of that. It's exactly when this, recently we had the bronze medal for, what is that lady, no? I forget the lady.
Mirabai?
The bronze medal she got for athletics, I think, or badminton. When she lost in the semi-final, she didn't want to carry on. Then the coach told her, it is better to be third than being fourth. And you will make it. And she made it. Because when she lost the semi-final, she lost her morale. Why play again? I will not play anymore. But through counseling process, she was told that in a world level, it is better to be third than being fourth. And she made it. So it's all different ways of dealing with them. And especially today's children, they are bright, they are intelligent. They will know that only 10 can go, 5 can go. But make sure that they get some chance somewhere or other, or at least give a reasonable explanation to them. Then they'll be happy. When they suffer is that without knowing they are excluded, without knowing they are rejected, then they suffer.
So thank you, Father.
Okay.
Jose, any more questions? Okay.
Father, I have one question that is regarding. Hello, am I audible?
Yes. Yeah.
See, today when we speak about this mental health, taking today's case, like now it's almost 2 years now. The children are inside the post the pandemic. They have not much interaction. They have been locked up inside their house for a very long period with the minimal interaction with their peers or others.
Yes.
And the online interactions are not sufficient actually for them. And this, in a big way, mental health. So as teachers or heads of institution, what are the possible ways to deal with them or help them out?
Well, basically, we said every human being wants another human being, and that is being curtailed because of pandemic. Now, what we can do is that for the teachers, for example, can call the children now and then, even WhatsApp calls, and encourage children to call other children and tell the parents to create some sort of a presence among them. That's only we can do. But many parents, they put them with the TV, they don't care, or they're locked up in a room, they don't care. And even teachers may not go in searching for the one who is alone. So what we can do are only this, through the social media, create a certain amount of social feeding, and that child is wanted. And basically, of course, the teachers, they can call them once a month at least and spend time talk to them, and then maybe help them also among the peers, peer interaction. So for which we can also have online competitions where everybody can participate, where they can get interactions. That's only way we can help out at this time. But it's not the best, but this is what we could offer.
Okay. Thank you, Father.
Is there any more questions? We can take just one more. I think we have come to the end of the session. I just want to say thank you to Father George for having done this session with so much of interest, giving us all what we need, especially with regard to the well-being of the children with whom we are dealing with, and making us aware of the importance of getting integrated, becoming integrated persons in order to help those under our care. And so the entire program was focused on well-being in all its sense. So I now invite Sister Anjellina Marak to propose a word of thanks. Sister Anjellina Marak.
Yes, Sister. Once again, a warm good evening to one and all present here. It's an honor to have been to us to offer a word of thanks on this occasion of the virtual meet with the team Psychosocial Integration in Education for the teaching school teaching personnel of Perando Province, Guwahati 2021. Respected dear Father Dr. George, our most valued resource person, for sharing with us your graceful words in today's virtual meeting. You have given us your vital time despite of your busy schedule, gracing this time adorning with your knowledge on this particular theme, and your graceful opinions were highly acknowledged. Indeed, the session was so interacting and enriching. This approach has a lot to do as leaders, educators, and molders of the young minds. You have awoken our minds through your personal life experiences, that the relationship between the mental and emotional well-being of the environment, that is, with whom we, for whom we care, are the essential elements we ought to keep in mind in our teaching career. Thank you, dear Father, for inspiring and motivating each one of us to be more passionate in our responsibilities as our knowledge and skills flowing out through this new way of teaching today. May God bless you, dear Father. Our deepest thanks to our dear Sister Catherine Joseph, the General Counselor for Education, for your encouraging presence with us this evening and your keen interest and passion in the field of education in the congregation. A word of thanks to our dear sister Mr. Chettri, Provincial Superior, and your team for the effort that you make each day for the growth of the province. We acknowledge your sacrifice, encouragement, and support to all the members of the province and to the collaborators in the Ministry of Education. Your valuable message was an inspiration as we keep moving forward in carrying out our duties, molding the future of the society in these most challenging times. I also take this moment to extend our gratitude and thanks to our dear sister Shiji James, the Provincial Councillor for Education, for the well-arranged program and the heartwarming welcome speech you have given. Your well-phrased expressions were highly appreciated. Thank you, dear sister. I take this chance to express my sincere thanks to all the participants for your valuable presence and active participations. May we continue to find joy and contentment in shaping the lives of the students and helping them to focus on the right things for life. May God bless our efforts. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Sister Anjellina, for that wonderful words of welcome, words of thanks. Thank you. Thank you so much. It is said, when life changes to be harder, change yourself to be stronger. Dear sisters and teachers, let's not give up in times of difficulties, but let's be prepared to remain firm. Let's look out for opportunities that can help us to become better and stronger. Let's focus on the mission entrusted to us. Let's not allow anyone or situation to dull our sparkle, but remain ever open to see the positive changes that can come in spite of the unpredictable situation that we are encountering even now. I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you for being present here. It is your participation that made this program a success. And a word of thanks to Father Tom, the Director and Secretary of NESCOM, for helping to host this program on Zoom. Thank you very much, Father Tom. And I want to remind you, tomorrow we will be having another session at 7 o'clock, 7 to 9. So kindly be present on time and let's make the program enriching and more participatory, because coming together is important and reflecting together is also important. And when we come together, certainly we will have inspiration. And therefore, let's really wait for tomorrow and meet in the same forum again. Thanks to one and all. Thank you very much.